Good afternoon. This is Jim Whitehead. I want to thank you for being here. We always have technical issues. I'm a little behind schedule, but I hope you understand. It's the holiday season, so you can give me a gift. Anyway, what we're talking about today, you might say, do animals recognize a party? I think they do, because they get a feeling. In fact, they have probably better feelings than we do when they are in, and this is related to a rescue center in Georgia. And I'm going to show you the party that they put together for their residents. One, they do it so that the animals meet a lot of nice people. Animals love being with people. Not everyone, but most of them. And moreover, with any facility like this, they're always hoping that when someone comes to see the animals, they see the animals as they are. I mean, I'm not saying even the animals say, well, this is a party, so I'm going to be on my best behavior. No, I think they just are on their best behavior all the time, which is great. It'd be even kind of a good idea if we were all where we were in our best behavior. Okay, so what's happening is this is a facility, as I said, that's up in Georgia. Now, when I say up, I'm in southwest Florida, so yes, on the map, you're going up to go to Georgia, so I don't get you confused. But this is what we call a Winter's Night of Hope holiday house at the Fur Kids. It's FURKIDS headquarters, and again, they're in Georgia. Okay, we are heading to the Fur Kids headquarters in Cumming, Georgia, an animal rescue center. With the sun dipping behind the trees, which you're seeing, and then again, it's in itself, you go down this road and you will reach the rescue center. So right there, it's not in the middle of a city. It's in a pleasant environment where everybody should be enjoying a pleasant environment. Now, lining the Union Hill Road in Cumming, Georgia, as families and animal lovers begin to arrive at the Fur Kids headquarters for the annual holiday open house. I guess, it's kind of like where, I know we get into saying whether Merry Christmas, no, you're not supposed to say Merry Christmas because it's religious oriented. It's whatever. I always said Merry Christmas. I always said Happy New Year's, and I'm still here, and I'm not a youngster. So, anyway, you can see they phenomenally, how would you say, put out all the trimmings and decorated to fit what they were doing. So anybody driving up to this animal facility would say, pretty cool what they're already doing for their residents. Twinkling lights draped across the campus made the expansive shelter grounds look like a cozy winter wonderland. And we all like winter wonderlands as long as we're not snowed in, right? Warm and welcoming against the crisp December air. And again, we're all trying to celebrate the holidays and recognize that we have a lot to do to try to have things be the way they should be in the future. So we hope that they will enjoy this party. Now, inside, volunteers hustled about greeting guests with cheerful smiles and festive refreshments. And by the way, the picture at the beginning is my Jamie. She's just about to be 11 years old, Shih Tzu, and that actually looks like Jamie in the middle of the picture. And again, these are not pictures that I put together in a sense. These are all pulled from pictures and I use Leonardo AI as my image processing, where I just say, hey, I want a picture of animals at a animal rescue, and people have come to wish them all the very, very best for now and for the future. The scent of hors d'oeuvres and warm treats filled the air, while holiday music gently played in the background. Adults sipped on seasonal drinks and kids laughed together, eager to meet the furry residents waiting inside. Again, they would not necessarily know that this was a party for hopefully somebody finding an animal that they know they would love and that they would take home. They're just saying, I love being with people, so here we are. It's pretty cool. Now, these are some of the dressed up animals. And, how could you, if you go into a facility like this, how could you possibly not just fall in love with all the animals? Now, due to my age, I've said this in my presentations, due to my age, I'm 76, Jamie's 11, we of course hope Jamie's going to live forever, but we know that's not going to happen. But we recognize at our age, it isn't fair to bring in a puppy because, the puppy would probably live longer than both my wife and I. Now, you could either do one of two things. You could either adopt an older animal. And let's face it, I'm going to be honest, all these rescue centers, they have animals that come in that they know, because of course they're pretty good at figuring it out and reading the tea leaves, as we would say, but that some of the animals are going to be adopted quickly. It's just a fact, unfortunately, that older animals, 9, 10, 8, etc., are not as prone to be adopted because, one, if somebody is young and they're adopting an animal, they want to have the animal for a long time, especially if they have kids. And secondly, you want to make sure that, it would be an animal that you would have some years of where you probably wouldn't have to be spending a lot of veterinarian dollars. We all have to look into that. So my wife and I are going to do one of two things. One, we're going to go, because we're semi-retired. YouTube is kind of my job now, but the point is, we would either adopt an older animal that probably wouldn't be adopted anyway. Yes, and they could have health issues, but bottom line, people my age have health issues. So let's be fair, right? Another trio here of people greeting and saying, take me, take me, take me. So we've said, we're either going to adopt an older animal or we're going to work at a local rescue center. Now, I'm the type, the minute I see any dog or cat, I fall in love with them. And I often would say it's good I don't fall in love with every lady I meet. I don't mean animals, but human ladies, because I would probably be in trouble all the time. So they're in their festive spirit, ready and waiting for folks to come along. Now, what the families moved from room to room, discovering playful pups wagging their tails in hopes of a friendly pat or a snuggle. It is just, animals aren't stupid. They love what they do, or they love being what they are, and, they're going to be themselves, and they're happy being with other animals, but the recognition is every animal should have a forever home. So what you're seeing here is they're helping have the people that have come in to have a little festive gathering look at the animals that are here. Now, what you see, and this I would say is probably the best rescue center, one of the best. They don't cage the animals where they're in a cage all day. That just, I feel, is very unfair to an animal. So, they're here looking to see if maybe there's somebody that might want to go home. And again, they're have curious eyes that peeked out from cozy perches and cat trees, sometimes venturing forward for a gentle scratch behind the ears. Each animal seemed to soak in the love and the joy of the season, perhaps sensing that tonight was special. Volunteers guided guests on behind the scenes, as I've said, tours of the shelter and the new cat and dog facilities, sharing stories of animals rescued from hardship and those now thriving, ready for the next chapter. Now, the sad part, that's happening right now, having an animal is not cheap. You've got to, there's food, there's medicine, there's caring. If you go away, I'm going to be honest, we've never left Jamie in all the time we've had her, but that's another whole issue. We don't expect people to say, well, from now on, I'll never go anyplace except home or work. But they recognize that they're very costly. And as you get older, there's even a lot of times more costly because just like with anything, and the sad part of animal growth, I guess you might say, is they have a relatively short lifespan. And I just wish that wasn't the way it was. The typical animal that's taken care of, and it depends on the breed, I know that, will live, I think best case, 20 years. But unfortunately, depending on the type of dog or the breed of both the dog or the cat, they some breeds live longer, some don't. I wouldn't personally say, well, I want to adopt an animal that has the longest lifespan. That doesn't make sense. I mean, I know economically you might say that's a good idea, but in general, you've got to find the animal that it just clicks. And when I do these presentations, and it's, these are truthful happenings. These are not made up or invented. Yes, admittedly, I have to pull some appropriate images that more or less help tell the story, but it's not where the story is made up. So this is a facility in Georgia that, as you can see, they're doing their Christmas holiday party. Anyway, the children's eyes widened with delight as they learned how every donation, every moment of care, and every volunteer makes a life-changing difference. I mean, it's great. Now, again, they did outside, the large wreaths and strings of lights cast a gentle glow across the campus. And again, you already saw this picture, but it's just showing you again that they didn't just say, well, let's decorate inside. They decorate outside. And that's, I'm sure the animals know too. So they're not sitting there saying, what's all this stuff? And then know what's going inside. But obviously for us humans, we drive up and we go, well, I think this is the place. And the minute you see this, you say, this is, and I know you got to be careful on things that are absolute, but you say, this facility goes out of their way for their animals. And, what I started to say earlier, due to the expense of having an animal, some older people, and I'm not young, I'm an older people, an older person, they've had to turn in their animals because they just can't afford. Now, I would never give up Jamie at all. Of course, the recognition is, yes, she'll only live somewhat longer, but we take good care of her, good, and we don't do dog food. And there's some really great dog foods today. In my 76 years, we used to see the dog food that was made was not really very healthy. And my mother, God rest her soul, our dogs never had dog food. My mother would cook special food in the sense of, chicken legs, etc., and have it where they don't have dog food. Now, today, will say there are some pretty good, like the Farmer's Pet, they make foods particularly for when you sign up with them. They say, okay, let's get the specifics on your animal, and they, how old, what type of dog, all the, ins and outs, and they prepare very specific food for your animal, and they prepare it for your animal, they package it for your animal, they put it in a kind of what I guess you would say a packaging that can take ice without, any problem, and they send you the food, probably 2-day delivery, and it arrives to you. Everything is still, chilled, So when you take it out of the packing material, you put it right into the refrigerator. So you've got fresh food, never frozen, and made specifically for your pet. And I've often said, my wife does this and makes and cooks for Jamie. We buy chicken legs for Jamie, etc., etc. But if in the event something happened to my wife, if I could afford it, I would use, a specialty food preparer for Jamie that's tailored to everything we share with them, her age, type of dog, etc., etc. So anyway, you can see they decorated very, very nicely. And what they did near the holiday display, a table held the wish list brimming with thoughtful gifts from generous supporters. So they get all types of things that they need, treats, toys, blankets, etc., etc., which again, just is another opportunity. As stated, cozy blankets, chew toys, and treats meant to make every animal feel loved this season. Visitors placed gifts on this display with smiles, knowing their contributions would make upcoming days brighter for residents yet to find a forever home. As the evening grew quiet and guests began to depart, many lingered for just a moment longer, quietly petting a dog or whispering a kind word to a shy cat. For a few hours, the shelter wasn't just a place of waiting, it was a place of joy. And, and just, not only a connection for joy, but also for hope. Under the glow of holiday lights, hearts were warming, both human and animal alike. So, if you've reached the end, I appreciate it. Now, I know you're busy, and it doesn't mean you have a lot of time to be watching YouTube, but what you're looking here is my end page. It's going to be included in most of my presentations now. I have two channels. This channel is Phoenix Animal, and there's a subscribe button at the bottom of that, which is on the left, and then going over to the right, middle right, I also have Power Coffee News. Now, yes, thank goodness that they're not similar, but both of them are passions. Animals first, coffee second. So, anyway, I started. This channel, the Phoenix Animal, is from when I started YouTube in 2007. Now, I did a lot of different things, so it wasn't where I was animal until I started doing YouTube full-time, well, pretty much full-time, in about 3 years ago. In August, I said, I just would like to do another channel, and that's why I have Power Coffee News. So if you're able to subscribe to either one or both, they're cheaper by the dozen. It, as you know, and everybody says it helps the channel. It really does. And that's pretty much subscription and what we call watch hours. How long did somebody watch this presentation? It's approximately, I'm not seeing the time, it's not long, but bottom line, people say, animals are not that interesting. Some people. The other aspect that's happened to YouTube in the last year is most of the content is all politically oriented. And unfortunately, it does push some of the what we would call G-rated channels off to the side. But you don't give up. And whatever is happening now is not going to happen forever. So I just keep doing my job and doing the best I can. So I want to thank you very, very much for being here and meeting this specific nice facility in Georgia. I'm still doing rescue centers. I did deviate and have it where I was pulling rescue centers from around the world, not just the United States. But on this special occasion with Christmas coming up very shortly, I just said, let's do an animal rescue center and, have it where we do a presentation touting, in this case, this facility called Fur Kids in Georgia. And my hat off to them. And Merry Christmas to them and all the animals. And thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. Take care. Have a good holiday and New Year. Thank you very much.